What is it that you want to do?
Well, we want to be free. We want to be free to do what we want to do. And we want to get loaded. And we want to have a good time. And that's what we're going to do.
Well, wait, baby, let's go.
We're going to have a good time.
People always ask like, are you like stoned when you write, or are you like sort of drunk when you write? But like, if I drank and wrote, I would be asleep by midday. So like, the answer is nothing. Like, unfortunately, it's like all coffee all the time. So yeah, coffee, unfortunately. You're disappointed. Well, we write together. We write in the same room, and like on this one particularly, we did it over like a very concentrated period of time. When we done Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead was our first screenplay, so we were sort of like we rented out an office and we worked there, and it took us like a couple of months. Hot Fuzz was very like sort of there was a lot of other things going on at the same time, so it was always like sort of very you know, kind of difficult to kind of stay in the same place. But with this one, like once we knew we were going to write it, we were sort of very, very sort of conscientious, and we like cleared like 2 months and just kind of sat opposite each other and wrote it. And it was great because we had the idea like 6 years ago, and so when we actually sat down to write the screenplay, it all came flooding out because we've been thinking about it for a long time. Yeah, we wrote the script, and then Nick would be the first person to read it. You know, he'd be the first person we'd show it to, and he would write notes and give good input on the character. And he came up with some great ideas for his character and some other thoughts, and you know. So, but he's also a producer on the film as well, so he kind of like did it in that capacity. Then what we do is that we rehearse with the actors. You know, we rehearse for like 2 weeks with the actors before we start shooting. And, you know, good stuff comes out of that, and some of those lines are written into the script. But pretty much we're like, what's on screen is the screenplay that me and Simon wrote. I think with Michael, like, we got on very well, very quickly. And in fact, I hadn't planned to co-write that until he was working on it, and we just got on like a house on fire, and we decided to write it together. With Simon, like, it's because we're like old friends, we're just very honest with each other. So we sort of, you know, and hopefully as is evident in the movie, we talk about lots of things that like only old friends can, where you're just really honest with each other. So, you know, something we wanted to do in this movie is make a film that's quite honest, you know? Yeah, I think what was nice about making these 3 movies is that we decided that with this one, we'd sort of wrap up some of the themes that are in the other 2, like sort of make it very final. So I think there are things that we talk about in this movie which will probably like, it's our final word on like nostalgia and like perpetual adolescence. So I think so we'd like to do something, you know, in the future that's in a radically different. The things that link this, there are things that link this in terms of like, they're all contemporary set, they're all in the UK, you know, they're all fairly realistic aside from the kind of like the sort of the craziness that kind of happens. So maybe if we did another movie together, it'd be something like where we don't have to abide by any of that. It's like a combination. Yeah. It's like there's lots of different things going on. So say the first kind of set piece with the effect is a combination of makeup, animatronics, digital effects, physical effects. So it's everything basically.
And it was important to you to have some real stuff.
Yeah. Like there's a decapitated head.
Yeah.
That you see, which is an animatronic, which I think looks amazing. It's like it was really there, and the actors when they would come in would say, "Go whoa!" Like, you know, because they just look completely real. terms of how much they're actually doing, I'd say it's like over 90%. I mean, you can see when you watch the movie, you're like, you're right there on them. But there's no like face replace kind of stuff going on. Like it's like the camera is like here, looking straight at them. The great thing about it was that Simon and Nick and Paddy and Roz and Martin and Eddie could all do the choreography really well. So they all trained with the stunt team, Brad Allen and Damian Waters. They trained up with them, and you know, the good news was they were all very good at choreography. So then it meant that we could try these quite ambitious sequences. So like Nick with the bar stools, or there's that scene with Simon trying to kind of hold his beer and fighting with one hand. Like, it was fantastic. And in terms of inspirations, like Brad Allen, our choreographer, is from Jackie Chan's team. He's part of Jackie's team. So Jackie is obviously an influence. But then going further back, it's also the people that influenced Jackie Chan. Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin. Like, I even tried to bring in a little bit of, you know, Richard Lester, when he used to make the Three Musketeers films. You know, we mentioned Three Musketeers in the movie, but like the two 70s ones, Three Musketeers and Four Musketeers. I used to remember as a kid that the fights in that were like sort of brawly and fun and like lots going on. So I tried to bring that kind of spirit into it. But another, if you're talking about a specific Jackie Chan film, then you've got to mention Drunken Master, which is like, you know, the one where he has to get drunk to fight, you know. But we thought in a slightly different way, is that the drunker they get, the better they are, because they don't care, they don't feel pain, you know. No. Not on that show. That show, I think, is that's it. I mean, that's not up for me to decide anyway, because it's like Simon and Jessica's show. They wrote it. But the second series was 12 years ago.
Yeah. A new project maybe?
Yeah, a new project, absolutely. In fact, Nick has just done a new TV show. Simon has just done something on American TV, actually. And I have an idea for something, so which at some point when I write it, that would be something I'd like to do, but it's a little way off. Well, I think what this movie is about nostalgia as the villain of the film. Is that everything goes bad when Gary King starts trying to turn back the clock. So we thought very deliberately that in this movie that nostalgia is actually a dangerous thing. And you've got a film about a character who wants to recreate a night from 1990, and as soon as he turns the clock back, things start to go very badly indeed. So we sort of wanted to make a comment on that, because something like, in terms of like, you know, like it's the third in a series, and you know, some people just want you to do Shaun of the Dead 2 and just do the same film again, and you think, you can't do that. If you did do that, it would be really bad. And also a lot of movies are like, kind of like, you know, most of the films this summer have been based on a remake of something from 50 years ago, like a sequel to something, like it's based on a board game or a toy or something. So we thought it'd be interesting to do something where it's like sort of, as a generation, like we maybe look back too often, and when you try and recapture former glories, it can go terribly badly. That's what the movie's about.
But did you like the new Evil Dead, since we're on the subject?
I can't comment because I know the executive producer.